What's up, nail geeks, and welcome back to another little box of horrors video. This month we have the theme Sinister Sea, so we're going to see lots of pirates and ocean type of themes from our makers. If you don't know what Little Box of Horrors is, it's one of those monthly collaborations that has many makers. What you see on this video are from makers who chose me to represent their polishes through my reviews on my video and or through my photography that you may or may not see on the website. That said, there are many more brands that are featured in the shop. We have lots and lots to check out. I'm going to do the usual swatches of the polishes first, and then I have, I think, one or two products that are non-polished to sniff test at the end of the video. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Starting off with BCB Lacquer, this is one in Eel Bites, described as a bright green curly base that leans somewhat jelly, with a strong pink gold orange shifting shimmer. This one's inspired after a green moray eel. Price is $13.75 and there's a cap of 150 bottles. I do agree with that official description. It behaves like a jelly, but it plumps up like a crelly-ish type of cream buildup. Very interesting. If you have a really prominent free edge, I'm going to urge you to go up to that third coat. Normal to light coats, your preference. However you want to polish, it is very forgiving and self-leveling. Again, I chose to do 3 coats and a glossy top coat. Chamaeleon Celestial Tails is a trithermal that shifts from a purple when cold to blue when warm to sky blue when very warm, filled with iridescent flakes shifting in green to magenta and fine scattered holographic glitters. This one's inspired by Mermaid tails. Price is $13.95 and there's a cap of 50 bottles. So the trithermal properties to this one, in my opinion, that warmest state to medium state, they're pretty close in color, but I think my ice water shot gives you a good idea of that. It's very temperature reactive, so no issues there. And you may want to use a glitter smoothing top coat, as this one did have just the tiniest bit of texture from those flakes and quite a bit of thirstiness. Ghostwake is a thermal that shifts from blurple when cold to colorless, somewhat sheer white when warm, with a green shimmer and silver holographic glitters in various sizes. This one's inspired by a fading ghost ship beneath dark waves. Price is $13.95 and there's a cap of 30 bottles. I again agree with that official description. The warm state is more of a milkier type of white. I think if you have a prominent free edge, you will see a touch of your smile line, like on my ice water shot and on my full hand shot here, but I honestly thought 2 coats was just enough for this. It's quite plump, and even though the warm state is soft, I didn't want to do a 3rd coat because I felt like it was going to be too plump and too much polish on the nails. Again, you may want to use a glitter smoother. Chamaeleon Nails Shifting Scales is the 3rd one. This one is a thermal that goes from magenta when cold to colorless to somewhat sheer white when warm, with a soft green shimmer, pink iridescent flakes, and scattering of tiny silver holographic glitters. This one's inspired by Mermaid scales. Price is $13.95 and there's a cap of 40 bottles. So this is incredibly similar to Ghostwake in how that milky white state, and really the only difference, at least to me, is perhaps some of the flake components used and then the colored thermal state to that. So my same disclaimers apply here for in terms of application and how it dries down, what have you. And then lastly for Chamaeleon is Sunken Spell. This is a solar that's milky white with no UV and turns magenta in the sun with a green shimmer and UCC flakes that shift from green to blue. This one's inspired by the hidden depths beneath the ocean. Price is $13.95 and there's a cap of 40 bottles. Sunken Spell has an incredibly smooth type of formula to it. I chose to stop at 2 coats because, again, this one also has a very plumping type of formula. I felt like 3 coats would have been overkill on the nail. No need for a glitter smoother or anything. Everything dried down nice and flat. And of course, in the sunshine and or with a UV nail lamp or a UV flashlight like what I have, you will see it turn over to this lovely purple. Cracked Polish Sparkly Sea Urchin is a light purple with gold, orange, blue, silver shimmers. This one's inspired by undersea oddities, mermaid daydreams, that type of vibe. This one's $13 with a cap of 200 bottles. Sparkly Sea Urchin has a somewhat jelly type of formula to it, but it's quite plumping, so I almost want to classify it as a crelly. I chose to stop at 2 coats. It gives this lovely soft kind of neutral type of vibe to it. I'm going to strongly suggest you use a glitter smoother and a glossy top coat together. I chose to not use a glitter smoother. I didn't think it needed it at first, and then I felt like once I got to my photos, it got a little thirsty. Danglefoot Savvy is a raspberry purple base with holographic flakes and green to pink shimmer. This one's inspired by Jack Sparrow, price is $13.50, and there's a cap of 50 bottles. So this has an excellent jelly formula to it that is very opaque on the nail. It's a touch squishy, but I really wanted to build this one up to 3 coats because it was behaving so much like a jelly that I knew it was going to deepen out that base color. So I'm going to suggest 3 very thin coats and a glossy top coat of your choice. Make sure it's a plumping glossy top coat. This one dried down quite flat for me. Danglefoot's Then We Have an Accord is a pink gold shimmer in a medium blue base. When under UV/sunlight, this will transition to a purple shade. This one's inspired by Pirates of the Caribbean. Price is $13.50, and there's a cap of 30 bottles. This has a creamy type of formula to it, very satisfying on brush strokes. I'm going to suggest going up to 3 coats with it to deepen out that blue base, and a glossy top coat of your choice. This is a lovely type of sky blue, medium blue, and the shimmer's quite strong in it. As you can see on my full hand shot here, you can kind of see a smile line a little bit on my falsies, but in person it wasn't that noticeable. I want to note this is UV reactive. It will turn purple under a UV lamp or sunshine. Unfortunately, in my rush to get this video out, I did not capture that. Humblebee Salt Hex is a pink aurora, blue, purple, green, pink UCC micro flakies, fuchsia gold, orange, green aurora shimmer, opal color shifting flakes, and blue shifting micro pigments. This one's inspired by the sea and all the secrets it holds. Price is $14.50, and there's a cap of 100 bottles. Salt Hex has a jelly type of formula in my opinion, and it is one I would consider more on the softer, almost sheer type of finish. It's got a ton of these little micro colored appearances throughout it, as you can see on my full hand shot here. And if you have a prominent free edge, you may want to use a blurring base with this, as again, this is what I would classify flirting heavily with being a sheer finish. So again, go up to 3 coats and a glossy top coat. This one has quite a bit of versatility, as you'll see on the Willet Topper segment. Jen & Berry's Keep Your Chin Up is a neon reddish coral base with subtle pink shimmer. This one glows pink in the dark. It's inspired by sea urchins. Price is $13.50, and there's a cap of 110 bottles. This is one of my top picks this month. I so love it. This color is luscious, it's bright, it's in your face, and I agree with that official description. I don't know how else to classify this color. It's a neon reddish coral. That's exactly what it is. This is going to look ridiculous on everybody, and it glowed beautifully bright in the dark. Of course, full disclaimer, I do charge my glow-in-the-dark polishes with a UV/LED nail lamp just to make sure it's popping for my camera to pick up. No texture or anything with this, but it did dry down quite flat, so use a good glossy top coat. Lemming Lacquer brings us, I think, 4 this month. This first one is Mysterious Fathoms Below, described as a bright turquoise jelly base with a variety of small hex, shred, and square holographic glitters. This one's inspired by the lyrics of the Little Mermaid intro. Price is $13.50, and there's a cap of 100 bottles. Now, this is a glitter bomb in the largest particle size. I'm not mad at it. It's very sparkly. However, it is quite viscous, and I chose to apply this a little sloppy on that second coat. You'll have to forgive me, but it's one of those trust the process type things. The glitters are large and a touch heavy, and again, the base is very viscous. So I chose to just go ham and move that brush which way I needed to make sure I had even dispersal on my nails. Stop at 2 coats because this is quite plumping and you don't want any more polish than that on your nails. Use a glitter smoother and a glossy top coat, and it is so sparkly. Lemming's Sirens Secrets is a turquoise jelly base with a rainbow of micro flakes and gold reflective glitters. This one's inspired by its namesake. Price is $13.50, and there's a cap of 100 bottles. Now, Siren Secrets is what I would say is more of like the somewhat fine particle shimmer sibling to Mysterious Fathoms Below, where that one was the more loud, blingy one. I'm going to suggest 3 coats for this. If you have a prominent free edge, you may want to use a blurring base of your choice, up to you. It is on the softer side of buildup, more like a true light type of jelly. You can get an idea of that on my photos and my full hand shot. You may need a glitter smoother, as we do have reflective glitters going throughout this. It's kind of lightly sprinkled throughout, but it's enough to give you some texture. Lemming Lacquer's The Mermaid in the Tree is a turquoise jelly with a rainbow of micro flakes and a pink to gold to green magnetic pull. This one's inspired by the short fairy tale The Mermaid in the Tree by Tim Schaefert. Price is $13.50 and there's a cap of 100 bottles. Now I chose to do 3 thin coats to make sure I had a very strong magnetic line that was obvious. I think across the board, I would have to suggest that for you too. Make sure you do thin coats with it because we also have a very viscous type of formula going on here too. So go in thin and just slow and steady build this up. No issues reacting to the magnet. It is on the somewhat heavier side to react to it. So you may want to apply maybe an extra 10 seconds for your magnetizing step, if you will. And then as a PSA, don't forget to magnetize your glossy top coat layer 2 to help seal in that design. This one is a little on the thirsty side, so I would suggest a somewhat thicker glossy top coat. Night Owl Lurking in the Depths is a dark teal filled with turquoise metallic flakes. This one's inspired by Lindsay's fear of deep water and what you can't see in it. My husband also has that fear too. This one's $12.40 and does not have a cap. Another one of my top picks this month. I so enjoyed this one. It is very pretty, flattering, and it's given that strong mermaidy type of vibes, especially with those metallic flakes going throughout it. It is very quick to build up to opacity. I chose to do 1 thin coat and 1 normal for me coat. And as you can see there, excellent buildup on the nail for full coverage effect. It will dry down flat, not necessarily textured. So again, just use a glossy top coat of your choice. Paradox Polish Check Your Moral Compass is a black, blue, green duochrome and has scattered holographic pigment. This one's inspired by pirates and price is $13 with a cap of 100 bottles. I do agree with that official description. This is more of a straight duochrome. In most lighting situations, I think you're going to see it as this deep, dark emerald green you see on the video. And at the most extreme angles, there is a lovely blue shift. Again, more extreme angles. So very much on that duochrome type of spectrum for color shift. It does dry down quite flat and it builds up quick to opacity. So I'm going to suggest 2 coats and a glossy top coat. Paradox's Octopunch is a black, white, peach, and opalescent glitter mix. This one's inspired by the spicy octopi of the world. Price is $11 and there's a cap of 100 bottles. This has excellent suspension of the glitters throughout the bottle. No issue there. As you can see, we're taking it slow and steady on the swatch portion and no need for icing method or anything like that. I just went in as normal and you can see it gives you scatter of multiple glitters across your nail. So of course this is a topper and I chose to do it over a neutral base so that you all can also see it over black in the willet topper portion. You may want to use a glitter smoother when you top this off. Peculiar Polish Fren Anenome is a cool toned purple base with purple aurora shimmer and silver reflective glitters. This polish glows a deep purple in the dark. This one's inspired by, of course, sea anemones. Price is $13.50 and there's a cap of 60 bottles. This starts off on the lighter side. I thought at that first coat it was going to be incredibly sheer, but it builds up to a more milky type of finish. If you have a very prominent free edge, very white free edge, mind you, I could see maybe needing a blurring base. I think my full hand shot gives you a good representation of that. I'm going to suggest 3 thin coats. This applies very much like a true reflective glitter finish, a little on the heavy side, but very smooth on the brush strokes. So 3 thin coats, a glitter smoother, and a glossy top coat is going to be best for this in my opinion. Penelope Loose Dark Mermaid is a turquoise magnetic with deep purple shimmer. This one's inspired by the dark side of mermaids. Price is $13.50 and there's a cap of 200 bottles. This is so pretty when you magnetize it. I want to note though, I chose to do 2 magnetized coats and the magnetic pigment itself was a little tricky to move. So I'm going to suggest doing maybe an extra 20 seconds on each of your nails. Make sure to just take it nice and slow and then be pretty quick to get that magnet to the nail while it's still wet. I ended up on my full hand shot here in just a moment, I ended up using the DRK Magic Magnetic Top Coat to kind of help me get a more stark line there as it was being a little heavy and a little hesitant to get to my magnet to pull. I think a neodymium bar magnet will probably be best with these, but I'm stubborn and I want to use my beloved ring magnet. And of course, babying it a little bit and then adding that magic magnetic top coat definitely helped to get a more stark contrast to that line. So 2 coats, this is a lovely metallic smooth formula and a glossy top coat. Penelope Loose's second contribution is Funny Fish. This is a green, pink, blue shimmer with pastel pink background. This one is inspired after colorful weird fish. Price is $13.50, and there's a cap of 200 bottles. This has a crelly type of formula to it. It behaves almost like a cream, and it's quick to hit opacity. Now, I'm going to suggest going up to 3 thin coats on this. I like doing that on shimmer bombs just to maximize how much shimmer and goodness is on my nails, and finish with a good glossy top coat as it will dry down quite flat. Rain Dance Polish brings us Animus. This is a muted pink neon base that's packed with large particle gold shimmer and scattered holographic micro flakes. This one's inspired by Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I think that's the last Assassin's Creed I haven't played just yet, but the first 4, oh, they're so good. Anyways, this one's $13.50, capped at 40 bottles. This is what I would describe as being a bubblegum-ish type of polish with a touch of a raspberry undertone to it. Very pretty, very universally flattering, and it's got a creamy, smooth formula. I'm going to suggest 2 coats and a glossy top coat. Rain Dance Polish's second contribution is Black Flag. This is a medium gray crelly base with shifty iridescent flakes and subtle lilac magnetic pigment. This one's inspired by, of course, the same inspiration. Price is $13.50, and there's a cap of 40 bottles. This one also had a touch of a heavier feel on the magnetizing portion of the swatching part. So again, I will suggest maybe another 10-15 seconds to get that magnetic pigment to move. And then possibly, if you've got it, use a magic magnetic top coat of your choosing. That way you can kind of help manipulate it, similar to what we did on the Penelope Loose Dark Mermaid. Now, if you don't have that magnetic top coat, no worries there. I would just suggest maybe like a bar magnet, which might be a touch stronger than, say, my ring magnet here. I'm going to suggest 2 to 3 coats. I chose to do 3 thin coats. Your preference on that. A glitter smoothing top coat and a glossy top coat, as this one dried down quite flat, and you kind of want to help your glossy top coat to glossify the polish. Rain Dance's next polish is Hidden Blade. This is a deep teal jelly base that's filled with iridescent flakes that shift through fuchsia, gold, and green, inspired by, of course, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Price is $13.50, and there's a cap of 40 bottles here too. Hidden Blade is a true jelly type of formula, so I'm going to suggest going up to 3 light coats with it. Build it up slow and steady, maximize those little mosaic of flakes on your nails. They're of the small to medium size, so it gives you that soft type of multicolored effect. Now, if you have a prominent free edge and or falsies, like what you see on my full hand shot, again, I would suggest a blurring base of your choice or a nude to you cream to hide that smile line if that bugs you. Ribbits and Stickets Deep Sea Disco is a deep blackened blue base with black reflective glitter and multidimensional magnetic pigment that shifts blue, purple, green, and teal. This one's inspired by anglerfish. Price is $13.50, and there's a cap of 50 bottles. Again, in my rush to get this video out, I unfortunately did not magnetize this one. I didn't see it on the label, so you're going to see it unmagnetized. It does magnetize to a lovely magnetic pigment that is very shifty, very true to the official description. This has a viscous formula to it, very easy to build to opacity. I'm going to suggest 2 coats, a glitter smoother, and a glossy top coat. Ribbits and Stickets' next contribution is from the Abyss. This is a deep magenta jelly base filled with electric crystal chameleon flakes and a touch of purple sparks. This one's inspired by NITS from the Abyss. Price is $13.50, and there's a cap also of 50 bottles. This is a true jelly formula. I'm going to suggest 3 coats and a glossy top coat. No issues with texture or anything like that. The flakes are of a variety of sizes, so sometimes you'll get some chonky ones going on there, like what you see on this middle nail, and you can easily manipulate them across your nail as you're polishing. This is on the softer side for opacity, very true to a jelly. So if you have a prominent free edge, again, I'm going to suggest going in with a blurring base of your choice or a nude to you cream if that bugs you. And again, glossy top coat, that's all you need. Ribbits and Stickets, I Release You from Your Human Bonds is a deep, rich red jelly base with yellow to green aurora shift. This one's inspired by Calypso from Pirates of the Caribbean. Price is $13.50, and there's again 50 bottle cap. I agree with that official description. I would describe this red as being a very deep, almost brickish type of red color. And depending on if you go up to a third coat, of course, it'll deepen out like a true, rich, opaque jelly. I chose to stop at 2 coats. I thought it just felt right, and a glossy top coat, as this will dry down quite flat. And then Ribbits' last polish is Queen Anne's Revenge. This is a dark gray crelly base with a mix of black flakes and a mix of fire red holographic glitter. This one's inspired by Blackbeard's Flag and Ship. Price is $13, and there's a cap again of 50 bottles. Queen Anne's Revenge has a crelly type of formula. It behaves heavily flirting with being a heavy, dense cream, and the glitters here are of the heavier size, so just kind of overwork it a little bit, like what I did on that second coat, to get an even dispersal of polish on your nails so nothing looks lumpy or anything like that. So go in light and just, again, overwork it. You'll need to use a glitter smoother and a glossy top coat because this one will dry down quite flat and textured from all the glitters. The Peach Pit Company has Davy Jones's Lacquer. This is a magnetic polish that's silver when unmagnetized, and it's cyan to blue when magnetized. Also includes lime blue gold flakes. This is inspired by Davy Jones's Lacquer on the Flying Dutchman ship in the SpongeBob SquarePants episode. Price is $14.50, cap is $50. And we have a somewhat standard type of feel on application. It's almost metallic-like, but also kind of flirts at a touch being on the jelly side. For opacity, I'm going to suggest 2 to 3 coats. Your preference, I chose to stop at 3 thin coats and magnetizing each one to get a better, crispier line on my nails. Now, this had no issues getting the magnetic pigment to respond to the magnet. So as you can see, especially on this third coat here, that it's just moving immediately to my magnet. This dries down flat, so I think any top coat is going to be just fine with it. I do see some layering capabilities with this, as it has a softer buildup in terms of the unmagnetized portion. The Peach Pit Co.'s second polish is my Diet Dr. Kelp. This is a shimmering deep green with green holographic glitter. This is inspired after the one fish that got mad when SpongeBob delivered his pizza but forgot his drink. Price is $13.50, and there's a cap of 50 bottles. Dr. Kelp has a light type of formula to it. I think if you have a very prominent free edge of any type, I think you'll see a touch of that smile line poking through. If that bugs you, again, my disclaimer for that, a blurring base applies here. I chose to overwork it on that third coat just to evenly distribute the polish on my nails, as it did have a touch of a plumping drying factor to it. The Peach Pit Co.'s next polish is the Dutchman's Treasure. This is a glittery yellow polish with shifting rainbow glitter. This one's inspired by the chests of gold Mr. Krabs finds in his board game. Price is $13.50, and there's a cap of 50 bottles. The Dutchman's Treasure is what I would describe as a true yellow jelly finish. Overall, if you have any type of free edge whatsoever, you're going to be able to see through your nail. So I think there is a touch of versatility here if you wanted to, say, put this over a yellow cream base or a blurring base of your choice. I think you'll see your smile line regardless in that case. I'm going to suggest 3 coats and a glossy top coat to seal it up. Tyler's Trinkets Blue Lagoon is a deep blue base with bright metallic silver magnetic pigment. This one's inspired by the Blue Dragon Sea Slug. Price is $12.50, and there's a cap of 100 bottles. This is another one of my top picks this month. I so adore it. It is creamy smooth on application, quick to hit opacity. I'm going to suggest 2 coats for that, and easy magnetic formula here. You can see on this first and second coat, it just snapped to on my ring magnet. No issues there. And of course, PSA, make sure you are magnetizing your glossy top coat layer 2. Help seal that image in from your magnet, and you're good to go. There's a lot of movement from this, and the contrast between that beautiful deep blue and that silver magnetic pigment is chef's kiss, if you ask me. Victorian Varnish's A Dreadful Bond is a navy jelly base with purple pink shimmer and a host of ghost flakies and UCC flakes with scattered holographic flakes. This one's inspired by Davy Jones and the Pirates of the Caribbean. Price is $13.50, and there's a cap of 150 bottles. A Dreadful Bond has a dense type of jelly formula to it. I'm going to suggest going up to 3 light to normal coats for opacity. Build this one up slow and steady, and use a good glossy top coat to seal it up. Victorian Varnish's second polish is Why Is the Rum Gone? This is a red rum base with red, orange, bronze, gold shimmer Loaded with ghost flakes. This one's inspired by, of course, Jack Sparrow's iconic quote. Price is $13.50 and there's a cap of 150 bottles. The rum is quite heavy on application, very smooth too on those brush strokes. I'm going to suggest 2 coats. I think that's all you need. It was very easy to build up to full coverage, and possibly a glitter smoother and glossy top coat. It's not necessarily that it's textured, but it did dry down very, very flat, almost matte-like. Wicked Polish Coral Reefs is a holographic base with various bright colored glitters inspired by its namesake. Price is $14 and there's a cap of 50 bottles. We have what I would classify as a topper. I think if you wore this alone, it's going to be like a straight sheer type of buildup. So I chose to show it off slow and steady as a topper over a black cream. There is a holographic effect I almost want to classify as being scattered, but it's very densely packed, if that makes sense. You want to finish with a glossy top coat of choice. Wicked's Siren Song is a pink to purple base with light blue magnetic pull and some holographic effect. This one's inspired after the Call of the Sirens. Price is $14 and again, cap is $50. Siren Song has a lighter type of jelly base to it. I'm going to strongly suggest you go up to 3 coats to build it up and just kind of plump it out overall. Again, this is a lighter type of appearance in terms of that base color, and what's mostly going to give you that almost a pseudo-like opacity is the blue magnetic pigment. It's got that ghostly, not quite subtle appearance to it, and it was quick to snap to on my magnet. Again, I chose to do 3 coats with it, and you can see that drastic difference between the second and third coat. I personally liked it like this. It just darkened out that base color very well, which again is true to a somewhat jelly type of formula. Last but not least, we've got Wicked's Unsinkable. I chose this one to go ahead and show you all the new box that your Wickeds will come in. These are 15 milliliter bottles. Unsinkable is a turquoise greenish base with gold shimmer and gold chameleon flakes. This one's inspired by the Titanic. Price is $14 and again, capped at $50. Unsinkable has a jelly type of formula with a strong squishy factor to it, so I chose to do 3 light coats. Not turbo thin per se, but I just went in carefully and light to kind of slowly build it up. Again, maximize all that shimmer factor. If you have a prominent free edge, my disclaimer of a blurring base will apply here. It's not super noticeable away from bright lighting situations, but I did find it there enough on my falsies to just kind of notate that. And we're going to wrap this up with a quick Will It Topper segment. This is where I use a black swatch stick to demonstrate if polishes have layering capabilities. BCB's Eel Bites definitely works over black and maybe matchy-match colors. The chameleons look pretty cool as their flakes pop well over dark colors, but because these are special effects, y'all know the drill. Even these other 2 thermals over here that had that milky white warm appearance, I still wouldn't suggest it even over like a white base. I just don't think you're doing them justice. It's not really how they're supposed to look. And then Cracked works very well over black. I'm pleasantly surprised with this one. I think you might be able to get a touch creative with it. The Danglefoots are both incredibly opaque, though they do work over black. I can't really see any other color. Maybe a matchy match for an accord, but I don't know. Humblebees, I think flat out can translate as a topper. You can put this over anything. Gin and Berries, yeah, it does look cool over black, I'll admit, but I wouldn't do it. You're not doing it justice. The 2 jelly lemmings here, these first 2, I think you could get away with over black or dark colors or other mermaid colors. Your choice. The magnetic one, I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about this one. You're muting all that color shift. The Night Owl looks really cool over black. Looks like a totally different polish, so I think it passes the test. The Paradox, yes and no. I think it kind of deepens it out, but you're muting what it looks like. And then Octopunch, of course, is a topper, so of course it works. The Peculiar polish looks really cool. I think this one toppers well over blacks and a lot of different colored purples. Penelope Loose's Dark Mermaid, yes and no, maybe. I think it does look cool over black. I don't know, your preference. And then Funny Fish, it's a shimmer bomb, so of course it's going to work, and it also demonstrates how much shimmer is in it. Rain Dance's Animus does pass the test over black. I can't see anything else working though. It's too opaque. Black Flag, I think looks really cool over black. Again, I don't see other colors probably working with this one. And Hidden Blade is a jelly. So personally, I don't recommend jellies. I think it's like an undie on an undie. Deep Sea Disco, yes, I think it passes the test, absolutely. Ribbits from the Abyss also works. I think this will work only over purples and blacks. And then the red one here, I think this one also worked, but I just don't feel like you're doing that color justice. Queen Anne's Revenge, I will forever say I don't care for Crelly-ish type of formulas over black or toppered. Dr. Kelp is wonderful as a topper. I think you can get a little creative over earthy colors. The Dutchman's Treasure is super, super jelly, so maybe over black and other yellows I think would look great. Blue Lagoon, yes and no. I think you're detracting from that gorgeous blue base, so I'm not a fan of it. Victorian Varnishes, A Dreadful Bond. I think toppers pretty well over black. You might get creative, just be mindful it's pretty tinted gray. Rum Gone is very opaque, so I personally would not topper this one. Wicked Siren Song looks really cool over black. I think you can get creative over dark colors and deep berries. And then Unsinkable looks really interesting over black, but I personally didn't care for it. So that's it for the polished stuff. I do have 2 products from Victorian Varnish to sniff test for you all. The first one is the Lavish Hand and Cuticle Cream. You've seen this the last couple of months on my my HHC and Little Box of Horrors videos. I think most of you know the drill at this point. It's a lightweight hand and cuticle cream that comes in a 2-ounce pump dispenser. There it goes. So it is super lightweight. I would say like a light lotion type of formula, but it does pack a punch. It's one of those that I would say you can do after you wash your hands. It's not super greasy or heavy or anything like that. I don't usually like to use the word greasy because I feel like that has a negative connotation to it. And I personally like super heavy lotions or creams, say for like after my shower or during the morning type of thing. But this is super lightweight, and I'm gonna put a little more on here. I am a little clogged again. I've just had some health stuff going on the last couple of months. So I can smell, thankfully, but as in terms of like projection, I'm not, well, I can get a little whiff of it, but I don't really want to say projection a whole lot because I don't know if that's going to be super accurate. We have some confounding factors here. But this is, it's very clean. It's clean and almost like a spa-like scent. This scent is, Seize the Day, right in front of my face here. Let me pull up the official scent description because it's clean and it's almost kind of spa-like. Okay, here we go. Official scent description is ripe peach and blood orange burst forward, juicy, sun-drenched, and laced with warm spice of cardamom. A hint of heliotrope adds a powdery almond-like sweetness before melting into a heart of dark rum and aged cognac, rich and intoxicating. Divana's Herbal Warmth. I'm not familiar with that one. Jasmine's Velvety Touch, and a bold, sultry, and decadently boozy undertone. So I guess I can get it. There is like a touch of like a warm type of clean to it. It's warm clean is how I would describe it. It is very pleasant. I would classify this as being definitely unisex. The other product that we have from Victorian Varnish, I'm going to pull up the scent description here so I am ready to go, is their cuticle oil this month. I love these so much. These are so pretty. This is how it comes. I think the tassels and the hardware on it, I think there's other color. Yeah, it looks like there's other colors you could probably get. They're probably giving out random. Yeah. So this month is a silver hardware, and then it's got a random color tassel on it. So these are really nice. The amount is 3 milliliters of oil that you get in here. And the scent for this one is there's something very pleasant. This one also reminds me very much of a clean type of scent too. Definitely unisex. And this one is, okay, so the same thing as the same scent as the hand cream. So very clean, unisex. Maybe this one kind of, I'm smelling like the a bit of a fruit note at the top of it, more so than the Handy Cuticle Cream, but it's the same scent, I promise. You can add these onto your order too. They're so cute. Give me like goth type of retro vibes. I love it so much. So you can add these onto your orders too. Very pleasant on the smells this month as well. I will link you all below to Little Box of Horrors. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.